How you doing today?
I'm good, man. Everything's good. I'm happy to have this whole setup going. This is a blessing. I'm very happy.
Oh yeah, it's exciting, bro. Happy
How
to
you
be a
doing?
part of it. as
How
well.
you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Happy to be a part of the whole process and just grateful, man. You know, things in life seem like they're turning for me. So
This is not something that, most people are able to accomplish. I mean, this is a lot of work. So I'm very happy that we're getting it started, and I wasn't expecting to go in today, so I'm very happy that we're able to do that,
yeah, we definitely figured a lot of shit out along the way.
Most definitely.
A lot of head bumps, a lot of
There's a lot of
problems and hurdles, but we figured that shit
A lot
out.
of times I wanted to bang my head against the fucking wall, but it worked out. It definitely worked out, and I feel good about it.
100%. So
It's a good day. It's
yeah,
a good day. Yeah,
for sure. Hopefully the beginning is something great, bro.
Yeah.
You
Gold
know?
and silver are ripping right now.
Yeah.
Fucking, the
100%.
market's crazy. This is a crazy time. Be careful if you're investing in any type of stock. Be careful right now. The markets are very volatile. The ranges are huge. Buy gold, buy silver right now. That's all I could really say.
I'll take it from you because that's not my specialty, but you seem to be doing well. So
There's different sectors. There's different sectors of different types of investing, and you just got to be really careful. You gotta do your own homework. You gotta, like, people want to jump into things prematurely and they want to make money. They're so focused on the money, so mind driven on the money that they don't do their own research, and they get fucking wrecked. And it's sad. Like, you should really never invest something that you're not willing to lose.
right, yeah, 100%. Definitely make sure you have the backing or the ability to lose whatever you put in, because if you can't, I feel like that's how people wreck their whole lives, bro. You know what I mean?
Gambling has one of the biggest suicide rates, like on like Prize Picks or like BetMGM, or like sports betting and gambling have one of the biggest, suicide rates. And it's really sad, because I feel like that's a very heavy addiction that people get into. And it's just really sad that it's so heavily promoted. People are so willing to sell people out, and to make money. And those sports betting apps and all these gambling places, they make a lot of money. Casinos, they make a lot of money, and they don't take into account people's mental health when they lose 50 grand at the casino or something. That's really sad. I think it's different when like Dana White or Aiden Ross or somebody goes into the casino and loses $1 million, but when you got a normal dude from suburban America that loses $50,000 to $100,000, I mean, that's his whole year's salary. Like that, you got to go home and tell his wife, that, hey, I lost our house, or you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that really does happen. So it's just sad. It's just really sad. But at the end of the day, people make their own choices, and you have to be intelligent about the moves that you're making. You just gotta. Some people gotta slow down, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you definitely, just in a little bit of trading I've done on my own, it's like you get that little hit and, man, it's like adrenaline and, everything feels great. You're on top of the world, and then you could turn around and lose all that and then some in the next second, especially with crypto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't leverage trade crypto. Do not leverage trade crypto, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Lose it all quick. Yeah. That's I mean, that is definitely a lot of people are getting into trading now too. So like that's great advice, because I know, coming from someone who's just starting to learn and stuff too, like when I do get those little hits, it's like dopamine, pure adrenaline, on top of the world, like, man, ready to go. I'm a king.
It's called euphoria, right?
Yeah.
You have to balance your euphoria. You don't want to be stuck in that euphoria, because then it's just, it's going to come crashing down at some point. You have to find some type of balance, and you have to have that emotional intelligence of knowing, like, hey, I'm in euphoria right now. Like, this isn't going to last very long. I need to start moving right, because, a crash, metaphorically could be right around the corner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, 100%. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
All right. Take us back to the beginning. What was it like growing up for you? What led you down the path that eventually put you in prison and gang life?
Well, simply put, not to go, too crazy into it, but at a young age, I chose, um, fast money and selling drugs, and I was very easily influenced, and that's not something I learned until I went to, juvenile prison. That was a quality about myself, that I was very easily influenced. I was very influenced by the life. I was influenced by TV shows and music and all these things that are put there to influence people. So I fell into that trap, and it's really sad because I see that cycle repeating over and over and over within family members or people around me, just young people that get influenced by music, and it's just getting worse and worse. Um, the music that they put out today is just so disgusting with the violence and the substances that are mentioned, and
Right.
they appeal to children, and they know that. It's really
Indoctrination.
it's indoctrination.
Yeah.
It's a conglomerate by the private prisons, the recording studio, or the record companies, really the powers that be come together, and they make these plans, all together. Like I read something today, I'm not saying this is truth, but
Right.
Sexy Red is a CIA asset.
Hmm.
I believe it. I mean, it's pretty funny, that Drake is so on Sexy Red. Just, out of all the female artists, he just,
Right.
and I don't get too into that. It's just stuff that I see. I'm on social media. I'm aware of these things, and I think it's crazy because I would look at her music and the content she was putting out as far as music and videos and stuff like that, and it's just so disgusting to see that appealing to young girls. To just get up and just get up and shake your ass anywhere and
Yeah.
be ratchet and be ghetto and
Yeah.
and just the crazy stuff that was put out about her having STDs and all, like, and that being okay and that being normalized. Like, it's just disgusting, and I think we need to clean up as a society because that's just so despicable to me. It's just so disgusting, and I just if I was to ever have a daughter, I wouldn't ever want her to be influenced by that trash.
Yeah, absolutely not. And that kind of actually leads into the next question I wanted to ask you.
I know I
'cause-
kind of got off topic there.
No, you're good, brother. As you get older, man, the way that you think starts changing, and you just become more mature. So, was there a moment inside or outside of prison where you realized the life you were living wasn't going to end well? And what did that moment look like for you?
So let me pull back a little bit. So I've been to prison 4 different times, right? I've done a total of about 10 years, and it was all the same, right? It was all the same every other time. It was the same. It was the same mindset. It was the same thinking. It was like all I cared about was getting out. I could tell my family something different on the phone. I could be like, hey, like, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But really it was like, I knew that I was gonna go back to these things. I was still talking to the same people. Birds of a feather flock together, right? You are you are the playground that you're in,
Mm-hmm.
And when you change those people that you're around, I mean, that's when the real change takes place. So I mean, I was still in that environment, and what really changed my mind is I knew that, after I met my girl, that I wanted to try to do things differently. I wanted to use my potential for something good. But I got indicted after I met her. I was 6 months into our relationship, I think even less. I found out that I was getting indicted, and I was on the run, and all of a sudden, and actually, my dad died, rest in peace, the same day that I turned myself in on my indictment, bro. I found out the morning that I was planning on turning myself in that my dad died, and it was just like it was like a real spiritual moment for me, because it was like, this is how bad things can get. Like, I didn't have the chance to show him ever that I could be something and I could make something of myself, and that really makes me sad. But like, I believe in I believe in God, and I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe that he's definitely watching me. I wish that I want to be selfish and say I want him here, but it's the way of the world, it's the way of the universe. But to answer your question, I was given 10 years for my indictment for conspiracy to distribute a controlled substance. I was already on parole when I caught my case, right? So I'd already 5 years in on my case, on my case that before I had caught this new case, right?
Yeah.
So when they sentenced me, it was all concurrent. The judge ran it all concurrent. There's a case law in Colorado called the Fetzer law. It was this guy, Ray Fetzer, that caught 32 years, and then he got out and caught another 32 years, right? And he argued, I got these cases ran concurrent. They're together, right? They're running inside each other.
Yeah.
I've already done 28 years. So he argued that, took it all the way up to the Supreme Court. They ruled in his favor, and he got out again on a fresh robbery, on a fresh 32. So the same thing applied to me. I got my cases ran concurrent. So I was given 5.5 years, 5 years of time served on my current case, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So after doing 2 years, I got out on a 10. You know what I mean? It's very important that I explain that stuff. But you know, I walked into my case manager's office at Benton County in prison, and after doing all this work, talking to the higher case managers and everything, doing all this advocating for myself, and one day he handed me a stack of papers, and it was my community papers, and I was like my MR or my PED is until 2027. Like, I'm thinking in my head, and he's like you're community eligible. Your Fetzer time went through. My stomach dropped, bro, into my ass. Like, I was like, oh my, I couldn't believe it, bro. I wanted to cry. I went back to my cell. I filled out every single line on that paper, plus other notebook pages, taped them together. I was ready to go after count time with that. You know what I mean? Turn that shit in. And that was really the moment when I kind of pulled back a little bit and stopped, you know, doing the crazy shit, stopped putting hands on people, stopped doing shit like that. And I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I know that was the real turning point.
You were ready for a change.
Yeah,
for sure. So that leads into the next one perfectly. Changing your environment is one thing, but changing the way that you think and the way that you act is a totally different ballgame. What changed for you in the way that you think that brought you to where you are now? Like, I know you had said the last time you went back, it was totally different. I relate to that big time. You know, you feel out of place, like, man, this ain't for me no more. But what was that thinking and change that came for you that helped you to get to where you are now?
So the problem in lies with the fact that prison was comfortable for me. It's probably where I'm most comfortable, because, you know, I'm the type, I can't keep my mouth shut. I can't, if I have a problem, I can't not say something about it. I feel very prideful. I'm sure my girl can agree with that. I can't keep my fucking mouth shut at all. You know, but the thinking changed when I started learning about my addiction, about my habits. When I started really reading books, you know, that were intellectual and that fed my brain and my you know, intellectual spirit, that's when it really started changing, is when I started, like, you know, educating myself on why do I do this, and, you know, like, the psychology around all of it. That's when it really started to change, is when I started, you know, being more open and being more humble to the things that I was not willing to accept or try, like therapy. There's some other things, you know, that I was not willing to change the people I was around. I was not willing to I was not willing to admit that I was wrong ever. I was never willing to be like, I was wrong, my bad. I was not willing to do that before. Now, yeah, I'm wrong all the time, on a daily basis. I'm wrong. So there's somebody that's going to do it better. And when I dropped my guard and learned that it's okay to learn from other people, that's when the change and the transformation really happened.
Okay. All right. And so, of those changes that you made, what was the hardest one for you? Like the hardest habit, the hardest thing to let go, whether it be letting go of being around the homies all the time, or women, or whatever. Just what was the hardest change that you made that got you to where you are now? Or is it something you're still working to change?
There's some hard things physically, right? Like when I got out, I started vaping. That was a super hard thing to stop doing, you know. And I'll still, you know, hit my friends' vapes here and there or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, but it's nothing like it was. Like that shit was attached to my hand. Like that's a very hard addiction, you know. It's just really the hardest thing is identifying these character flaws and these addictions and working on them, because you're never going to change if you don't stop what you're doing and revert your thinking, you know, back to what you're learning. Because, you know, I knew all the knowledge. I took classes in pre-release in prison. I took classes at YOS. I took classes, you know, that's juvenile prison. I took those classes. I knew the knowledge. I'm not stupid by all means. I'm not dumb. Like I know exactly. I knew why I did these things, I guess, before, but it's being humble enough to put them into play, to say, hey, like, you know, like last 2 times ago when I went to prison, I read everything I could find about real estate. I swore I was going to get out and be a real estate mogul. I was going to own apartments. I was going to collect rent. I was going to have 10 apartment buildings. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. You got to have capital. You gotta have capital for things like that, you know. So, you know, I can admit I was wrong about that, but I kind of self-sabotaged in that moment, you know. I felt down on myself that I couldn't get it together. I had such a high goal, and I didn't use SMART goals to really, like, you know, take the small steps towards that. I just wanted it all right then and there, you know.
Yeah.
And I got down on myself about that, you know, in 2018, 2020, and that's what led to, you know, me getting sober is you know, I got shot. I've been shot at plenty of times, but I got shot, and in that moment, you know, the hours leading from that, I decided, like, this is not for me. The drugs ain't for me no more. And that was, you know, almost 8 years ago.
Yeah, and definitely, you know, you have you've had some success for sure since you've gotten out of the halfway house and started all of this, and success definitely doesn't come overnight. What are some of the little wins you started to see that started to build your confidence when you did start to live the right way? What things started to go right for you?
Dropping my guard and to really get into it, you know, from the roots. Dropping my guard when I was at the halfway house, and, you know, being willing to admit that, hey, this person that's working in this halfway house facility or in this prison is just doing their job. It's nothing personal.
Right.
Even when they're sitting there trying to write you up, or even when they're in your face or something, like, they have frustrations, they got eyes on them. You know what I mean? They have people that they have to answer to. So when I let go of that thinking, like, hey, you know, fuck them, like it's me versus them, or it's us versus them. When I let go of that thinking, that's when a lot of things started changing for me, and I started focusing on the things that I could control. And I started working, and I started going to school and doing all these things that, you know, I wasn't willing to do before, educating myself. And, you know, the changes are really evident in my own eyes, and I'm just taking it one day at a time and just continue to build. And I'm not anywhere near where I want to be, but I definitely feel like I have taken some steps, and, you know, I am in a place that's, you know, that where I'm comfortable, and where it would be easy for a person to get complacent, but I refuse to let that happen. I know where I want to be, and I'm living in my mind 5 years in the future. That's where I'm consistently, you know, my mentor calls it he calls it for himself Future John, and I call it for myself Future Alec. He says that, you know, what would Future Alec do? You know what I'm saying? And that's how I see it. Like, I really believe that, you know, you have to plan out the things in your life that you want to transpire. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. period.
100%. So I guess that would lead into this question. Or this is rather personal, something I think about personally quite a bit. Like, if you could go back and redo anything, would you? Or do you think that everything that you went through and did is something that brought you to where you are now, and so you wouldn't change nothing? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying. I think about that all the time. That's something that kind of looms in my mind all the time. And to answer your question, I wouldn't change anything because I really love the person that I am right now. If I had to, gun to my head, if I had to change something, I would have spent more time with my dad. I would have tried to learn as much as I possibly could from him, because he was very smart. He was a hard person to connect with, very hard-headed person, hard to be around sometimes. He was very angry and get frustrated very easy. But in my wise mind now, I feel like I could have dealt with that, and I could have been like, man, stop, like, you know, like, I'm your son, like, you know, like let's do this, or show me how to do this. Like, I wish I would have done that instead of getting, you know, discouraged, or, you know, letting, and again, you know, I didn't think about what was going on in his life that made him so frustrated, because I get that now. Like, you know, in my adult life, you know, taking care of my own responsibilities, I totally understand where he was coming from, you know. That's probably, honestly, the only thing that I would really change if I had to. But to be honest, I wouldn't change nothing. Everything happens for a reason, and I feel very blessed, and I appreciate God for putting me in this position I'm in right now. I appreciate all, you know, the family members that have supported me. I really only have my mom and my sister and my lady and her family, but I appreciate every single one of them that believed in me, because they didn't have to. They didn't have to at all. They met me, and I was straight gang member, like, you know, they seen that, you know, and I know that they could have just discounted me, but they believed in me through prison and everything, and, you know, I got out, and I feel like I've really proved myself to this point, and I want to continue to do that.
Yeah. So, kind of on like maybe like a giving people out there advice type of stuff. So if you, for somebody who's out there right now, and not a specific person, but anybody who just got out, is feeling the weight of their past, their reputation, the things they've done, and they feel like maybe they don't have a future, or they can't overcome the obstacles that they need to. You know, you hear a lot of guys talking about how they can't find a job, nobody will hire me. What would be your advice to them to overcome that hurdle and to move into possible success in the future?
Well, first and foremost, right? The can't find a job, that's bullshit. I don't need to put it so harsh, but you can find a job. And if you can't, you can talk to somebody that can help you find a job. You can find a job. There is a huge workforce out there. I think people don't understand that they can sell themselves to businesses, because these businesses get government subsidies for hiring felons. So, I mean, that's a selling point right there. Yeah. You say, hey, you know, you can... You know, you have to put it professionally, but I think that, you know, people need to work on their professionalism. They need to work on their confidence. That's huge. With me, everything changed in my life when I started working on my confidence, when I started building my confidence. And I remember being in prison after reading a book, right? And I'll talk about this book later. I'm not going to say what book it is, right? But I read this book, and after I read that book, I was like, what the fuck? Like, my whole mindset changed. My whole life changed. Like, it was like an aura around me.
Right.
And I'm like, I am the fucking man. Like, I don't know why I was down on myself. I don't know why I felt like this. I don't know why I had this anxiety. Like, I am the fucking prize. And if anybody can't get with that, I don't want them around me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And when you start feeling like that, you build into that. You grow into those shoes. You grow into that spot. When you feel like that, everything in your life forms around that. And that's how I feel like you have to be. I mean, you have to find that within yourself, whether, everybody's journey's a little bit different. I understand that there's always going to be somebody out there that had it harder than me or has it harder than me, or mentally or physically. I get that. There's people that struggle to have it easier than me, right? It's just, it's really interpersonal. You have to find it within yourself to build that confidence and find it wherever it is, because it's out there. Yeah. Whether it's in a book or in a movie or, in a friend or whatever, you have to find that confidence. And, talking about these topics is what's going to bring you to that. Talking about it, why do I feel like this? And that's where I feel like, our business of peer support really comes into play, because I've seen a huge change in the people that I work with on their confidence, whether they admit it or not, whether they see it or not. They've, after we talk, I feel like a motivation comes over them,
Yeah.
And I feel like it's confidence. Confidence is huge.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So going along with confidence, when you first get sober and get into recovery, I feel like that's something that naturally just starts to kind of come to you. You start feeling better about yourself, you get healthy, you just, everything seems better. Mm-hmm. So would you say that you should be careful with that? Because I know I've heard a lot of people say, and I've experienced it personally a little bit myself too, but like sometimes you can get overconfident, especially in recovery, and then you start letting little things slide, and next thing you know, they say you relapse far before you actually.
The spiral starts far before the relapse happens, right? Like the actions that you take, if you break your routine, especially in early recovery, it's detrimental. Like you have to have a set schedule, and there's different strokes, for different people. It's like, where NA might work for somebody, it might not work for another person. I feel like mine was, very, very different and unorthodox when it comes to my recovery. It was just different. Like, it's not something that I really put on a pedestal. I try not to, and a lot of people, I know I just said you got to talk about these things, but that's not something I really define myself as. I don't use it as my identity. I feel like when you first get into recovery, though, for those that are just now finding that within themselves, to be like, hey, I need to get sober. Every move you make is very important for the first year. You need to find a supportive group of people and immerse yourself in them, like whether that be your family, whether it not be your family, right? Maybe you need to get away from your family and you need to be around other people. You need to immerse yourself with positive people. You have to be around them at all times. And then when you have to set plans for yourself, a relapse prevention plan. That's so important, right? What am I going to do when, not if, when this comes in front of me? Right. What are you going to do? It's going to happen. Yeah. It's going to happen, period.
Right.
Like, we just lived over there on West Colfax, like that. If I was any type of weak-minded person,
short walk.
I fucking walk outside and it's right there. There's somebody, smoking a foilie right there or whatever. I'm so far away from that in my mind, and I just want to, without going too far into detail about it, I just want to remind everybody that you can get there. Like, you can definitely get there to where that's not even a thought in your mind anymore. Like, you could not put $1 million on the table and be like, hey, go middleman this play or hit this and I'll give you all of this. Like, I would never do it. I know what it does to me. I know what it does to my family. I know what it's taken from me, and I will never ever, I can't say, that I couldn't have the world crash around me and, my mind might change. I don't know, but in this moment right now, I know that's not even an option, and I hope that, and that's my prayer to everybody, is that I hope that you can find that and get there too, because I was a fucked up person. I was a bad person. Not only in addiction, just in general. Like even when I was sober, even when I would get sober, I was a horrible person. I was bad.
Yeah.
You know, like I wasn't the type like stick you up. I feel like I had morals and stuff. Like I did that to certain people. I wouldn't do it to an innocent person. You know, like just go rob an innocent person. I did it to who I felt was justified. But at the same time, like I was a very bad person. When I felt like you were an enemy, there was no holding me back at what I might do, you know?
Yeah, 100%. So I guess now that you're starting this podcast, what's your vision for this? Like, where do you want this to go? What kind of people do you want to talk to? And where do you see this in 5 years, 10 years even?
That's a beautiful question. So I want it to be a very broad stroke, right? Like I didn't want really to be stuck in a certain niche. That's just me. I think that's fine for other people. But I really want to compile my favorite shows or what I've listened to for podcasts, and I want to try to bring all of those together from what I like from this one and this one and this one and like I want to bring all that together as my own, you know, and that's really what I'm trying to do. I picked out a name that's real general, that's important to me, and we've contacted some people that have already agreed to be on the show that are really powerful, and they come from all walks of life, right? Like it could be you know a business owner, it could be you know a professional athlete, it could be somebody that's involved in the crypto space and the stock space, it could be somebody that just got out of prison, it could be a parole officer, a probation officer. I'm really open, you know, so booking at ledgermedia.com, definitely, you know. I would love to hear who you guys think that you would like on the show, because this is going to be something, you know, something big that I feel like is very important to me. It's very important to the people that are involved. There's a lot of people involved. I appreciate everybody that's helped thus far. Everybody that, you know, is a part of Ledger Media or Gold Standard or Empower. I really appreciate you guys for the support and everything you've done thus far to help with the success of this. Even though it hasn't started yet, I feel like it's, you know, it's going to be something big.
It is. It's going something.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, you know, we were able to put this studio together in less than a month, and it's exactly what I envisioned it to be. It's to the T, you know. And to those that have helped, to you, thank you for helping. Like, I know that you know, I was kind of like, I want it like this, and you know, it's exactly how I wanted it. It's exactly. I mean, this is gonna be dope. I'm very excited for the first guest. You know, I was excited to film this. I mean, you know, yeah, we're right on schedule with everything. So this is a very, very important opportunity for me and other people. You know.
Yeah, I think
I got offered a movie role, and I thought it was bullshit, you know. I thought it was bullshit, but I looked everything up. It checks out. I've emailed back and forth with the casting director, and I can't really say too much, but it was like, I really think that, you know, from putting that booking email up on the social media,
yeah,
that whatever system they use to scan the internet, I mean, yeah, so I mean they sent me a script for an audition, and I'm not saying I'm gonna get it, but I mean it's official. I mean, and it's pretty nice. I mean, it's a good opportunity. It pays well, and I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, I think it would be a good role for myself. I mean, I always low key kind of wanted to be an actor. Honestly, since American Horror Story, since I really got into that, I was like,
yeah,
you know, I really wanted to. I thought that would be cool, you know, in another life, but might be in this life, who knows, you know.
Yeah, I think, man, when you start truly living your life the right way and moving the right direction and surrounding yourself with the right people, bro, it just, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, starts moving for you and starts putting things in your way that just that just build you up and take you to the next level, man. It's a beautiful thing, you know, but it literally, for me, I think it comes down to every little decision.
And there's
Literally.
no telling how, you know, like there's no telling how good it can get. There's no ceiling, you know. Said, I mean, as corny as it sounds, bro, the sky's the limit, and there's no ceiling. Like, you really can go, like things can get that good.
Right.
You know, they can get really good.
Well, and we just talked about this earlier, like, when you put a ceiling on your life, once you hit that, all you got left to do is fall.
Complacency is the devil. You know, idle hands is the devil's playground. And I don't care if you get $100,000 a year job, you get a 6-figure job. I mean, the dollar's crashing right now. I mean, it's down 8% in 2 days.
That's,
I mean, that's
unheard of.
For people that don't understand how crazy that is. Like that is every $100 that you have in your pocket is worth $8 less, you know, in value. So, you know, 100,000 ain't shit. They're trying to destroy the dollar. So, the Federal Reserve is buying other countries' currencies for the first time.
Right.
And so, I mean, it's getting bad, you know. So, I mean, 100,000 ain't shit. Like, you know, now, like, you gotta understand the price of things now. Like, you know, since COVID and everything. So, and what I'm saying, that's still a good amount of money to make. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is, don't get complacent with that. You know, you start making $100,000. Don't get complacent with that. You know what I mean? Invest in yourself. You know, find more things that you can do and get passionate about.
Right.
You know, somebody told me the key to success is spending 90% of your time on money making activities, and that right there changed my life. And that's what I've tried to do since I learned that. You know, and I was already working hard, but that translates. You know, and I was able to give my girl a job, and now she works with me, and now a lot of the time we spend together, we're working together, and it's fun. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I hope she has fun.
Get to hang out and make money together at the same time. That's
so we get
amazing.
We get to build a business. You know what I mean? And we get to help people. It's real nice. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely are an inspiration to a lot of people that are around you.
Thank you.
And you're doing what you can to help a lot of people up, and that says more about you than anything, at least to me, and I think to a lot of people it does, and it shows. So for those people who are looking like, man, look at this guy. He was exactly where I am not too long ago. If you had to tell them one thing to do right now that could change their life, what would it be?
So I care about people, you know. I got people's faces flashing in front of me right now, you know. I can think of names, and it's really hard to say one thing because everybody's at a different spot.
Right.
But just, you know, bet on yourself and you will never lose. That's simply put, you know, whether that's building your credit. And I'm not gatekeeping shit, you know, like I was in prison 3 years ago with nothing. I got out with nothing. You know, like I'm not gonna call my sister or my mom and ask them to help me with this and that. Like I had to figure it out, you know what I mean? They did support me and with small things like any family would.
Right.
But I'm not gonna call my mom and be like, hey, I need 500 for da 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 da. Like, you know, we make moves together. Me and my mom have always had a strong relationship, and you know, we move as a unit. We try to figure things out together, you know, and I really appreciate the support that she's given me, that my sister's given me, that my lady's given me. But my point is, I had to figure that out. You know, if I wanted to take an Uber, I got to pay for that. I got to pay for these things. And I was just there 3 years ago, you know, to where I didn't know, you know, when I got out of the halfway house, I didn't know how I was going to pay my rent.
Right.
Until I got the job that I was really trying to get. You know, I didn't know until somebody gave me that opportunity. There is those opportunities out there for everybody. You know, there is that opportunity that's going to change your life out there for everyone. You just have to look for it. You know,
Right.
you have to be open. You know, there's that thing that they talk about, the red car theory, right? Like if I asked you how many red cars you've seen in the past week, would you be able to tell me? Probably not, right?
Absolutely
Probably
not.
not. But if I told you I'd give you $100 for every red car you see till next week, I bet you come to me next week
Yeah.
with how many red cars you
Yeah.
see, right? That's life. That's opportunities right
Right.
there. Each interaction, the person that passes you at Walmart, that could be your next career. You got to look for these things. You got to be open to discussion with people. You can't be
Right.
closed off. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah, 100%.
be open to opportunities. Bet on yourself.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Great advice. That's definitely great advice.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing this, and you know, there's going to be a lot more of this content. I appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate everybody posting and sharing the reposts, the messages. I've gotten a lot of hits on TikTok on the office number. You guys, you know, reach out. We could help you with resources and so much more. You know, it's so much more than that. You know, we run a peer support and behavioral health service business full time. So if you guys need help with employment or housing, whether you're justice involved or not, definitely reach out. Again, I appreciate the love, you guys sharing the content, and if you like content like this, please promote it, please share it, spread it around, because it could be somebody's saving grace. So please, you guys, if you can, definitely support the page. That's all I could really say, you know. If you like any of what I just said, you know, a share or a follow would be much appreciated. We're going to try to do as much as we possibly can to give you guys premium content as much as we can. Very excited about this. So thank you. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.